And we are back. Illini Drive, Wednesday edition. Jake Hasan, joined by Nathan DeHaan, Brendyn Jones, and Alex Aguilera, as always on Wednesdays. How we doing, fellas?
We're good.
Good.
Life's good. Beautiful outside.
Yeah.
2
Very
straight
nice
back-to-back,
day.
75 days.
Yeah, after 50 on Monday.
Okay, yeah,
Lovely.
yeah. But you got to take the good with the bad.
I just want it to be steady. Just stop.
fair.
Just give me consistency.
Some have to walk so others can run. Bad days have to exist so you can enjoy the warm days. Kid Rock walked so Lil Nas X can run.
These are a lot of different analogies flying around
It's
right
going
now.
to be this kind of show.
I'm
I can
so
just tell.
confused.
I can just tell it's going to be a hodgepodge show. But I'm here for
Yeah, we got a lot different topics to cover. Nothing really that huge. We're kind of in that slow period, other than NFL, or not NFL, NHL and NBA playoffs happening. But we do have some Illini news. The basketball schedule, not the schedule, the opponents have been revealed. And so at home, okay, got it. Okay, home only games, Indiana, Minnesota, Nebraska. Away games only, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin. Then 2-game splits will be Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Northwestern, Purdue, and Rutgers. So
Spin Zone.
So you do catch Michigan and Michigan State this upcoming year. You get Purdue again. And then you essentially get everybody. I mean, you're really not avoiding anyone here.
Right,
You're getting Indiana, who will be better. You're getting Wisconsin, who was in the tournament. You're getting Michigan and Michigan State, who are both in the tournament. Obviously, Michigan State beating Duke. Pretty much everyone you played last year, right? I don't think there's not a lot of change here.
I think
None, maybe.
Well, the biggest thing I think is getting the Michigan and Michigan States and Iowas and home and aways, having to play them twice.
Yeah.
And the way that I saw this spun as a non-negative, I don't know if Illinois had an easy Big Ten schedule last year, but there were some teams that they didn't have to run into a lot. They only played Michigan State once. They only played Michigan once.
Sure.
I mean, just stuff like that. It's never going to be an easy schedule when it's Big Ten basketball.
Right.
And this year you're getting those. But I saw this spun as potential for a decent amount of quad one wins. I mean, if we're talking seriously about this team making the NCAA tournament next year, then you're playing tough competition. You're playing teams that can eventually go on an NCAA tournament resume as, this is a team that won, home against Michigan or beat Michigan State on the road. It just potential things like that, which is obviously a good thing for what we've said on the show needs to be a tournament team for the next year.
Definitely has to be a tournament team next year. I mean, despite how tough the schedule might seem, it has to absolutely be a tournament team just based on, we're assuming Iowa's coming back. We're assuming that Kofi Cockburn's going to continue with honor his commitment, his verbal commitment at least. And, you get Antoine January too and all those guys and the influx of talent that you're getting. And you're not really losing anyone outside of Aaron Jordan, which obviously it sucks to lose him, but you're getting a lot more than you're losing. And speaking of those guys, Io said that he doesn't want to talk about his decision yet. The dinner, it's like an honorary
that
dinner?
banquet, the banquet.
Yeah, some kind of banquet that Illinois basketball does every spring. It was a couple days ago, and Io declined to take any questions and said the only statement he made was he's not sure what he's going to do yet, and he's going to take up until the last minute, essentially, to make his decision. He has until midnight of April 21st to make his decision. So he's got a little less than a week, about 4 days left to decide if he's going to go to the NBA or if he's going to return to Illinois. If I had to guess, I would say he's returning. Yeah. It scares me a little bit that it's taking this much time.
What are I think we're all on the same page. What are our confidence levels?
He returns
Yeah.
90%.
90?
90?
Yeah, 90.
That's high.
I mean, he really likes Kofi. Kofi
Right.
really likes him. I don't think that, especially the way that Illinois finished the season, I don't think that he'd be drafted
As high as he'd like.
as high as he'd like to. If next year Illinois is a tournament team and he gets the exposure and he gets the looks and he develops, he'll be higher and he'll be closer to where he wants or maybe where he wants. I don't think he's finished here. I feel like he has a lot more to prove.
I'm not quite at 90. I'm at Because I'm just worried about how much time it's taking. Like the fact that he's taking up until the last second, the last minute, as long as he can. And I mean, who knows? Maybe as soon as we're done with the show, he tweets something, which would obviously happen because that's just what happens to us. That he tweets as soon as we get out of here. Oh, I'm coming back, Illinois. Like, ILL, whatever. That would make sense. But as of right now, I'm at like a 77%. Like.
Okay. Cool.
It's just I'm a little worried just because of how the timeline's going. But I agree with everything you said. How the way the season ended, the fact that Kofi is coming, and they seem to have this already kind of friendship going on, and the fact that he could, I mean, realistically, he vault himself in the top 10 if Illinois makes the tournament, and they show well.
Alex,
I'm at about I'm at about a 92%.
92.
Woo! I'm pretty confident that he comes back.
I like it.
Brendyn was sure he wasn't getting top 90. He thought for sure he had the top one.
No,
and
no.
I'm shocked that you are the most optimistic out of us.
Too.
But I've said it before. I don't think he leaves. It seemed like at the end of the season, he kind of had that mood where, there's unfinished business. Like, I need to come back. I don't get that vibe from him that he's gonna leave. After 1 year, be a one and done. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem like he's gonna leave. That's just kind of my thing. And I think that's it.
Yeah, it also felt like the Big Ten sort of shoot him up a little bit to the point where it was like, okay, like if you take away his right hand and if you force him to do this, that, and the next thing.
Honestly, it's like I feel like it would be the smart thing to come back one more year. I feel like with this draft class, very top heavy. I don't think he would be a first round pick. Not to just be bogus or anything. I mean, second round. I think he would be drafted, just not as high as he would if he were to stay next year.
Yeah, I think my optimism or my confidence echoes Jake's. I think I'm at like a 75. It just feels like Jake, like what you said. The longer that the more time that's put in between the season and his decision, the more that it feels like he's forgetting sort of how the season ended and not having that same fire. I don't know, and it's just Illinois athletics. There's so many times that you start feeling good about things. True. Everybody's coming to the spring game, looking forward to the football season. Everybody's looking forward to basketball with three guys 6'10" or 6'10" or taller coming in, and just an excellent draft class to build on a guard-heavy lineup. That it would happen to Illinois that you lose, I would assume, but. I'm still pretty sure.
Yeah, it's weird. Actually, I don't have a problem with him taking this much time to make the decision. I think it's just, once again, just a smart thing to do of just taking as much time as you need, because this is a big decision. Like,
there's no doubt.
Right. So it's like, I don't blame him for taking as much time as you can to make a decision like this. So
that's fair.
I don't know. I see where the worry is, but I don't know. I'm just pretty confident that he comes back. I honestly would be pretty shocked if he is a one and done.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like he's that type of guy to just just be
up and get out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been his brand ever since he committed to Illinois. Like, I'm here, like I'm going to make this a competitor, and then they obviously weren't last season, and so I feel like that's kind of been his thing. Like, I'm going to bring Illinois back to relevance. I'm going to make this the program that it once was in the mid 2000s, however much. So. I agree with you, Alex. I think that's something that he wants to do. Just other Illini stuff really quick. The men's gym team is hosting the qualifiers for the championship, for NCAA championships, that is, this weekend starting on Friday. They're going to be the number 4 seed. The qualifiers will be on Friday. The championship rounds will be on Saturday. Illinois, I think, has a pretty good shot, if not as a team, as individuals. Alex Diab has been unbelievable. He's like the second ranked on rings or something like that. So he's been really good. Baseball lost yesterday to Bradley 12-8. They've been very up and down lately. They took the series against Minnesota over the weekend. Then they lost 12-8 against Bradley yesterday. They have Penn State coming up this upcoming weekend. And I think another game against Bradley next week during the week. So very up and down for them. But that about does it for Illini stuff. So we'll get into national stuff. Do we want to start NFL or MLB or NBA or NHL?
You take us wherever your heart desires, Jake.
That's a lot of pressure, man.
You're the host.
Let's talk about bat flips. And let's talk about Tim Anderson's bat flip that happened today. If you were watching the White Sox game, you saw Tim Anderson smoke a ball to center field, just absolutely out of White Sox Park. And he he didn't even bat flip, he bat spiked. I mean, it was literally like, and I mean, we talk enough Game of Thrones on this show, but it was literally like the Night King spear throw. Like, I mean, this was an Olympic level bat spike. I mean, he could be in the javelin in the 2020 Olympics. Unbelievable. And I think as soon as he did it, everybody knew he was getting plunked next at bat. And I hate these. And obviously he gets hit in the hip the next at bat. Bench is clear. Everybody comes out. Shout out Rick Renteria just going at Ned Yost, like trying to throw some hands between the managers, which was very interesting. But I am so sick of these unwritten rules. And you get bat flip, you get drilled, and we've been saying this for years. Like, if you don't want to get bat flipped on, pitch better.
Right.
Like you can't, like you have no one to blame but yourself. And if a guy's gonna celebrate in your face, like after you hit a 450-foot home run, that's obviously gonna happen. And I'm really sick of guys taking it personally. And I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, Chris Archer specifically, because he did that 2 weeks ago. You know, Chris Archer is a huge celebration guy. Strikes someone out and he backpedals, moonwalks off the mound. It's awesome. I'm all here for it. But then when you get bat flipped on, don't get all mad and start a benches clearing thing.
Right.
Whole big thing. Like, it's not worth it. And, you know, MLB started this whole let the kids play thing. Yeah. And then you're getting let the kids play unless you break this rule that nobody has ever said, but it's really there. And you hit a home run that is really awesome for you, and you make the other team feel insulted and you hurt their feelings. Yeah. Like, otherwise, have fun, go nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here for celebrations across all sports, whether it's when Steph Curry turns around before the basket goes in, or, you know, the insane touchdown celebrations that we saw in these past 2 years in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, you can't be mad, like Jake said, when you celebrate all the time and then somebody else celebrates on you for beating you at the game.
Right.
Personally, I would have liked something better than a spike. He's a little angry. But, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. I just wish he would have like flipped it in the air, like maybe at the other dugout. I don't know, but I don't know. It was really cool to see, though.
I feel like MLB kind of brought this sort of upon themselves with the let the kids play movement,
right?
Where they're sort of in this limbo of letting the kids play and also wanting to preserve the game that has these unwritten rules. It's almost like, oh well, it's not the gentlemanly game of baseball anymore, and the America's pastime if it's not being played the quote unquote right way, where all these unwritten rules come into play. But it's also not modern, and it doesn't sell to the new generation if you're not letting the kids play.
Right.
And so right now you're sort of in this middle ground, and you're gonna have, you're gonna have Tim Anderson bat flipping. You're gonna have Jose Bautista type bat flips of just huge celebration. Heck yeah, I just sent that ball 400 feet from the plate. And then you're going to have retaliation that's going to cause fights. And you know what? Fights also sell to the younger generation. Like that's going to make people like pay attention and bring more buzz about your game if people get in each other's faces. So it's a weird sort of way around it. I don't know the answer. Right. But I mean, I'm definitely with you guys in terms of, let the celebrations happen. If you want more faces in baseball, if you're complaining because Mike Trout is too boring to be your face of baseball or whatever it is, let the celebrations happen and let sort of baseball's thing be the in your face celebration. You can't do anything about it because the play stopped for a little bit while I take a hop around these bases.
Right.
I will give MLB credit for one thing. They've gotten a lot better with social media this year. In that they retweeted the Tim Anderson home run. They retweeted even the bench clearing. And one thing that I really like that they've done is they don't edit videos as much anymore. So like when someone hits a home run, they just take the game video of whoever the photographer or the videographer for the team is. And it looks kind of like it looks more real. It doesn't like they didn't cut it from every angle. It's just the one camera on whichever player and just follows them. It's still professionally done. It's still the subject is picture clear, crystal clear, and the back is blurry. Shout out Ken TV1, but like it's really good that they're doing this. Like MLB's gotten a lot better because before it would take 3 hours for you to know on Twitter or social media that Tim Anderson had done that bat flip, or the brawl had happened, or someone had just hit a crazy home run, or that Jake Arrieta shut out whoever over 9 innings today. It's a huge thing, and so I will give them credit because they are still in that middle ground. We're like, all right, do we promote this or do we not? It seems like they're leaning more into, all right, we got to promote this. This is our game. Like, this is what's going to bring people in. So I think they're doing better with that, but it's just, like, why do teams have to be like, and one more thing real good. Rick Renteria in his post-game press conference handled it awesome. He said, if you don't want Tim Anderson to do that,
Right.
get him out.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's true.
A part of me though loves hitting the batter. Like part of me loves that the pitcher
Really?
has that ability of like, oh, like that was so fun what you just did. Here's a
man.
90-mile-an-hour fastball on your side.
I would like it more if it wasn't like a reliever in the next inning. If it was still that same pitcher doing it, I'd be like, okay, fine. And if it was like a change up to the thigh or to like, or something, or you're like your back, your leg, fine. But a lot of these guys are going 95 to the head or 95 to the hip.
Oh, yeah, obviously had different scenario, but I don't know. Part of me loves just sort of that aspect of baseball of like end of the day, pitcher puts the ball in play, and if he puts it on your right hip, like that sucks. You get a free base out of it. I know it's bad, and I know I shouldn't be supporting it.
I see what you mean.
I love the slight pettiness on top of like the boom 95-mile-per-hour fastball.
Right. It's like, oh, you want to do this bat flip on me? Boom, I'm going to give you a bruise on the thigh, something like that. Yeah.
Obviously, I hate for any head injuries or anything like that to happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or that devastating Yu Darvish hooking fastball that took out the batter, the ump, and the catcher.
The triple kill.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was
There
crazy.
was that one with the Astros. I forget who it was, but he had to do a matrix move where it just like
Colin McHugh.
Yeah,
I had to watch that
a couple times.
because
Same.
I thought for sure caught him like in the chin.
But you see, like that last second, he just like moves a little bit. You see, like, just like jerk
for
back.
those of you who don't know, Colin McHugh of the Houston Astros throws a ball and it gets liner right back at him, and he makes like this crazy matrix move where he goes backwards, but then you see the ball,
like
you
how
watch
he
the
made the
video, it's
motion,
going
too.
at him. And he puts his glove up, and I don't know, it got like right between his glove and his face, because then it just goes through, and he's fine, and he's on the ground, but it didn't hit him. And I watched it, I was like, that had to have hit him in the face. Like, how did it not? And so I had to watch it like 4 times, so I saw like the little window where it had to have gone.
My only criticism is that if he would have gone the other way, he wouldn't have been anywhere close to the ball. If he would have stayed standing there, he probably the ball
but it's
would
just
have
like the
missed him.
reaction.
No,
like,
of course. I'm being
You mean if he had
unnecessary.
leaned forward?
Or just like if he honestly like stood where he was, it probably wasn't gonna hit him. He sort of matrixed into it, leaned back, and then
It seemed like he didn't know where the ball was going to go, and then he was like, this is coming right at me.
I think it's more of
primal
like,
instincts took over for sure.
Right.
Sure,
I
but-
think it's more of like a pitcher's thing. Like when you're a pitcher, your motion takes you forward, and if you're a right-hander, slightly to the left-hander, slightly to the right. And I think, like you said, natural instinct. So you're just reacting however way. Like you think, oh, it'll be better if I bend forward instead of backwards. I'll have more of a chance. I always love pitcher like crazy plays like that where they stop a liner, like whether it's the glove in front of the face or whatever it is, because. I mean, that's just they survived.
Right.
That was like,
My favorite one will always be that Jose Fernandez one against Troy Tulowitzki.
oh, rip.
Yeah, rest
Yeah,
in
that
peace.
one is. Yeah.
But you just see Troy, and he's just looking at him like, "Dude, did you see?
Did you catch that?
Right? And he's just like, "Yeah, like,
I got that.
He just smiles like, "Yeah, no, I did." But man,
Oh, now I'm
That's
sad.
a one.
dude, I love Jose
Now
Fernandez.
I'm
Dead.
sad, Alex.
I'm sorry.
He had so many awesome gifts.
Yeah.
He was just a gift factory.
I remember where I was and like when I found out that news that day.
And the D Gordon home run the day later. Oh,
Dude,
sports are awesome, man.
I didn't
Sports are
cry,
awesome.
but I got choked up when I saw that.
I got choked up.
I was like,
no lie. One of his best friends hits a Yabo in the next game wearing his number.
We should have saved this for the end, man. If you're going to bring out Jose Fernandez,
I'm
come on,
sorry.
dude.
We were just talking about plays, and that's like the one that just comes to mind immediately.
No, you're right. That is one of the best like pitcher comeback
Just the
reactions.
charisma he had, that innocence. Like, yeah, I did catch it.
I don't know. This is no secret, but like it always surprises me. Like I've been watching baseball my whole life, and it always surprises me just how quick baseball players can react to anything.
Crazy.
Whether it's hitting a 100-mile-an-hour ball, or it's a pitcher, catching a line drive off the bat, or it's how outfielders are able to know where the ball's going, like right after his. I don't
Just
know.
their
It'll
sense
just
of
never.
awareness.
My whole life it is just never ever.
Just seeing Bias just like
stop to
tag out
surprise
the
me.
runner without
Yeah,
even looking.
exactly.
It's like, how do you you don't just do that? Like, just I don't know.
And
It's
it surprises
unreal.
me. It surprises me whenever the ball gets lined right back to the pitcher, because then I think about it and I'm like, man, how few times does this actually happen?
Right.
That it gets to sort of like the scenario that we saw yesterday with them having to make an almost life-saving move, it seems like, when they are just, what is it, 60 feet?
60 feet 6 inches.
60 feet 6 inches away from where balls are leaving at hundreds of miles an hour, and how rarely it is that it goes literally straight back.
It's odd to address that issue when it does happen and they do get plunked in the head, and it's very serious. But it's like, what are the odds of that happening? You don't see it a lot, and then when you do, you have just these crazy reactions from these pitchers where they make these matrix moves, and then other times, they can't react to it in time.
There's nothing that can be done, nothing that should be done about it.
Right.
Because at the point that I'm making and the point that you're sort of helping me here with is that it just doesn't happen that often, and it's kind of crazy that it doesn't because it is, straight back.
Right.
Well, the crazy thing is then you get guys like Jameson Tyone who get hit in the head and stay in the game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then just shake it. They're like, all right, cool, let's do this.
That's a hockey player that learned how to play baseball.
Yeah, geez. Like that's
Guys like that are just a special breed.
they're just different kinds of
They have absolutely no reason to keep playing, and yet they still do.
there's
reason.
different cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, comebackers are always crazy. And this wasn't a comebacker, but head injuries, the White Sox pitcher Danny Farquhar, who had like a brain hemorrhage last season in the dugout and had to be taken out and then had emergency brain surgery. He's making a comeback. Do you guys know he's in the Yankees like farm system right now?
I didn't know
like
that.
he's in the rehabbing in minors ball right now.
That's awesome.
Which is crazy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of comebacks, Carlos Zambrano, man.
Yeah, I forgot about this. While we're on
Carlos
baseball.
Zambrano had a vision from God that told him he needed to throw 95-mile-per-hour fastballs again.
Crazy.
And now he's trying to make a comeback at the age of 37.
With
to
the
be,
Chicago Dogs.
Independent League, Chicago Dogs.
I mean,
they got a cool ballpark.
Yeah,
do they?
Yeah,
I don't know
Impact
nothing about
Impact
it.
Field is really nice.
Where is it?
It is like in Rosemont.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Rosemont.
And it like just normal baseball sized stadium. Is it?
Yeah,
is, it
it's
any,
normal.
is it any smaller than like a major league stadium or maybe
I mean,
slightly?
Yeah, I would say slightly a little bit
Yeah.
smaller, but it's nice. It just has that natural like ballpark feel to it. Okay. It's really cool, modernized type of deal. And then there's also where the Chicago Bandits play the women's softball team. They have a pretty cool ballpark as well. I actually went to one of the games with my brother. Shout out Christian. He took me to a game.
Cool.
Pretty dope. But yeah, those ballparks in actually it's called the ballpark of Rosemont. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you know.
But
yeah.
what are the chances Carlos Zambrano
Zero.
actually makes it
Zero.
Zero?
Yeah, I don't.
Can you really say that until we see him like pitch?
I can say that because he left the Cubs because he had a temper tantrum and then got put on some lists and then fired within like a week. And then
Right.
he tried a stint with the Marlins
Marlins.
and was garbage. And that was
Hey, I mean-
5 years ago.
Right. 2012. right? No, wasn't it?
2012 was his last year.
I think was it 2011? This is or 2012. Was that
So,
with the Cubs? I don't
2011
know. He got a fight in the
No.
dugout.
So he played 12 years in the Bigs, 11 with the Cubs. And in 2011, his last season with the Cubs, 145 innings with a 4.82 ERA,
Yeah.
24 games started, just 6 strikeouts per 9 innings.
That was a trash Cubs team too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I
It was
remember
bad
when
Cubs
Zambrano was your ace pitcher in like
Yeah.
2008 when you were
Right.
a playoff team, and that was when Big Z was the man. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't care about the antics, you didn't care about the anger, and
He was the guy.
He was your big, huge freaking one, and he was the best pitcher on your team.
And then 2012, his last season of his career so far, not counting his upcoming season with the Dogs.
Right.
In Miami, 132 innings pitched, 4.49 ERA, 6.5 strikeouts per 9, and yeah, just not
So
good.
when was his ERA last under a 4?
Last under 4, 2010,
Yeah.
with 3.3 with the Cubs.
So he's 9 years removed from that. He's not making a comeback.
He's 9 years removed from his last sub 4 ERA season, and he's
Hey, good for him,
11
though.
years removed from his last All-Star season.
Good for him, though. I mean,
But yeah, no, big man's still dealing. I sure as heck wouldn't want to face him.
If he could even if he can even break 90, I mean that's going to be impressive.
You think he's still good?
I mean, I think so. He's 37.
He probably still could.
right.
I mean, yeah, he's,
Not consistently, but he
Yeah.
could
I mean,
break
he was
90.
one of the first starters that you saw that was throwing like 97 consistently. I mean, he was kind of like
he was crazy.
He was kind of like one of those
I
first
forget-
guys.
I forget how good he was when he was good.
He was crazy.
The thing is,
He
if
was.
you want to look at
Him
it,
and Lou Piniella on the same team was too much for the Cubs. man.
the thing is, he really wasn't even that good. Like
he was just crazy.
like
Yeah.
he's only had one season with a sub 3 ERA.
He had a no hitter though, didn't he?
He was
Yeah.
In
It's
2000
Milwaukee, right?
I think it's
yeah.
Spurs.
In 2004, he had a 2.75. His next best is a 3.11. And so mean, really, he wasn't like his All-Star season in 2008. He had a 3.91.
That's
Like
weird. Like
he was
numbers
good,
wise, he
but
wasn't
wasn't
great.
even like
He was
amazing.
I bet that was like a 3 when it was the All-Star break, though.
Probably.
I was gonna say because you could look at Lester's
Right,
season
right,
last
right.
year and be like, "Yeah, how was he an All-Star?"
Right,
and it's
sure.
like, well, he was fantastic up until the All-Star break.
Right.
So that's probably what that is.
Yeah, he did finish top 5 in Cy Young 3 times. But
Wow.
again, he was like the first guy to like throw 97 consistently and
Yeah.
overwhelm hitters. So I mean, good for him. I would.
Dude had a little bit of a swing too. He could
Yeah, he could have a little bit. Nope, not there. Wait, postseason pitching. He had a 4.76 in a series against Atlanta in 2003, a 5.73 in a series in the NLCS against the Marlins, and he pitched really well against Arizona in 2007. He had a 1.5, and then blew up against the Dodgers in 2008. I want to see his
right.
standard batting. Wow, he was actually really good batting.
I was gonna say, that was one thing that you can't take away
He
from
was-
Big Z's. He definitely gets still hit.
Over 12 years hitting, he was 238, 248, 388 with a 636 OPS.
Like, that's not bad.
He had 24 home runs.
Yeah, this one.
24 home runs, 3 triples in his career. I think that's the most surprising stat there. I think 3 triples.
Big Z had 3 triples.
What ballpark was he?
I don't know.
They had to all be the same one, and they have a weird gap in like the right field.
Yeah,
guess,
it had to have been like Arizona or something.
They had an oxygen tank in the dugout for after that. Like,
Or they like forgot to put an outfielder out there or
Right.
something.
Yeah, right. They were super shift or something. That I think is the most. 24 home runs though. That's pretty good.
But yeah,
too.
in terms of comebacks, Big Z's trying. It's not gonna happen.
no.
I
Good
would
for
love
him, though.
He's listed as 6'4", 275 on Baseball Reference, which is probably generous at this point. Now
Yeah.
he's probably
Yeah.
heavier even,
Right.
but
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah.
putting 3 stacks, pushing
Yeah.
3 stacks.
he's got to
3
be. Yeah, I mean,
like that.
what 6 years off, 7 years off, definitely.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna take a first break. We're gonna take a quick break, a few minutes. But when we get back, NBA, NHL, NFL, a couple things to wrap up there. Russell Wilson has a new contract, and then a wraparound of all the playoff games that happen. So stick with us. All that right after the break, right now. And we're back on I Drive. Last 25 minutes here, and Nathan and Alex have a little bit of a soccer rant to go on. As you know, I'm not a huge soccer guy, and Brendyn is not a huge soccer guy. But Nathan and Alex apparently have a lot to talk about right now. So go off, Kings.
It's not. I mean, it's nothing crazy.
It was just a really good game.
So 2 Premier League teams. This is the first time that 4 Premier League teams had advanced to the Champions League quarterfinals
Right.
in a long time. English
It's been a
soccer
while.
has been on a down as of late in terms of international competition, and so you get all these teams. You get Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, and Liverpool. Liverpool, obviously finalists last year, ended up losing to Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid, but this matchup was 2 Premier League teams with Tottenham Hotspur and Man City. Tottenham won the first game, so you know I don't know if you guys know this, and maybe the listeners know, but in the Champions League, there's aggregate games where you'll go it'll do a home and home, and then whoever has the most goals at the very end of everything advances. The tiebreaker is away goals.
Right.
So Tottenham wins the first game that they hosted 1-0 on a nice goal by Sun. I think
Son,
Son.
yeah.
I was hearing 2 different pronunciations when I was
Yeah.
watching today. So then this game starts. The way that it is Man City needs to win by 2, pretty much, because if Tottenham scores a goal, then they've got an away goal, and any sort of tie will result in Tottenham advancing. Game starts off quickly. 3rd minute, Man City, assist from Kevin De Bruyne, and Raheem Sterling puts it far post. Beautiful, beautiful shot. 1-0. It's all tied up at 1-1. Really quickly, response from Tottenham Hotspur, where the ball gets played up. It's an error by the Man City defender's part, and Son puts the ball in the back of the net, does what he needs to do,
Right.
ties the game back up 1-1. But now Tottenham advances on away goals. So for the rest of the game, Man City now needs to win by 1. To which Tottenham responds again within the first 10 minutes with another goal of their own.
By Son.
By Son. This one was a peach of a finish.
yeah.
Just absolutely gorgeous. Right foot curling up in the opposite upper 90.
Did you just say a peach of a finish?
It was a peach. It was.
that what they say?
I've
gorgeous.
never heard that ever in my
They
life.
say some weird
Is that
stuff
just
in-
a soccer thing?
Yeah, kind of
Or is
is.
it an English thing?
Probably
Probably both.
Both.
both. Yeah.
They're hand in hand.
Yeah.
It was class.
It's kind of fun to watch an English broadcast of a soccer game.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
You get so much more lingo that you
It's
wouldn't
always
get.
a dude from FIFA too.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. He's not the best.
He's not.
No.
Okay.
No, who's the guy that does ESPN? The guy that he's so English.
I know. His name escapes me. I know who you're talking about, but anyway.
Whatever. Back to the game. Then Man City responds again within the first 15 or so minutes. This goal coming from this wasn't Sterling again, was it? No,
Silva.
Yeah. This one was from David Silva. Decent goal. I mean, he puts it in play, gets deflected off the defender. The goalie's already going the opposite direction. It ends up sliding near post. It's tied 2-2 at half.
No, it was 3-2 at half because then Sterling had another goal.
Kevin De Bruyne with a beautiful assist, a
Right.
ball that just skips across the grass all the way from the right wing across the box
That
to a
assist
far
was-
post running Raheem Sterling, who easy finish.
So 3-2 at the half.
3-2 at the half. Tottenham advances on away goals. Still.
Yeah,
Because even though
still.
they're losing the game, they've got the 2 away goals
Right.
and they've got 3 goals total. Continue on to the second half. Man City gets a goal.
From Sergio Aguero in the 59th minute.
That's right. And it seems like the breakthrough because this is the 59th minute. As soon as this happens, City starts making the substitutions. They've had the possession all game.
They're up by 2
And
that
these,
point.
and these are the teams that, Man City's probably going to win the Premier League this year.
Yeah.
If Liverpool doesn't blow it, Man City is in position to win the Premier League this year again. And they've just been a dynasty for so long. This isn't a team that blows a lead like this. And then all of a sudden, in the, something like 80-something minute, 70-something.
73rd minute.
73rd minute, a corner kick off the thigh of a substitute from Tottenham. Just like that, Tottenham's now advancing, even though they're losing the game. Because at the time, it's 4-3. It's 4.
Now it's 4-3
The
with
game is
that goal.
4-3. Tottenham still advances on away goals. And then here's where the craziness happens. And maybe this is just where it sort of started things and it didn't give you this full recap. But in the 93rd minute, a guy from Tottenham plays the ball back to one of
Christian
his...
Eriksen, he plays it back,
Plays it back to one of his defenders, but it deflects off of the shin guard of a guy on Man City. Because of the deflection, the ball goes over the intended target for the pass and directly into the lap of Sergio Aguero, who is now running on the ball just outside the box, has a perfect opportunity for a goal to win the game, passes up on it, dishes it off to Sterling, who takes his time, lets all the defenders pass, takes it across his body, slots it near post. 93rd minute, game-winning goal. Man City's going on to the next round, except
You thought.
a whole minute passes, an entire minute of this Manchester City Etihad Stadium going bananas, and then with no whistle from the referee, with no reaction from anybody other than the big screen says, VAR, no goal, offsides. And so, with 2 minutes to go in the game, the video assistant referee looks back and sees that Aguero is technically offsides because on the ball that Eriksen played back to his player,
He slightly passes the defender before.
when it touches the defender, that technically counts as a pass from Manchester City to the guy who is in the offsides position, and he is that close.
Yes.
He is half a step from being back on sides before having to turn around and run and go after this ball. And it was just insane because it's a 7-goal game, like
Right.
8 goals if you include the one that doesn't happen there at the end. It's the semifinals of the Champions League between 2 heated rivals who play again on Saturday.
Right.
And that is going to have so many fouls. It's going to be such a dirty game.
The game was bonkers.
And the game is just ridiculous. It deserves to be talked about on here for anybody. If Tommy's listening, I know he'll appreciate this. If we have any football fans out there that appreciate this, so.
Man, for me, just
And Alex is rocking the Tottenham jersey, and that also deserves.
So for me, when it was a goal by Raheem Sterling for what almost would have been a hat trick, I was sitting in class and I almost slammed my laptop because I thought, wow, this is like the most Tottenham thing for them to do, to just have this lead on aggregate and just blow it at the very last minute in death time.
And Tottenham had never been to a Champions League semifinal.
No, since
this was
61, since 1961. This is their first trip since 1961.
Oh, they had been before.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's been a long time. Well, not as long for me, but still,
Right.
These guys haven't won a trophy in years. But just to see that, happen, I was like, wow. Like, this team always blows it at the very last minute in just dramatic fashion. And just all of a sudden to see a tweet that said, wait, they're reviewing it. I was like, wait, what's going on? Because I wasn't watching the game, so I didn't know exactly what was going on. All of a sudden I see the picture of the screen at Etihad Stadium that said, VAR review, no goal. I was like, thank God. that this happened. I was like, so that means we're probably going to the semifinals. And, you know, it is the case that we play Ajax now, who's actually really good, and I'm pretty worried about. But, man.
A Tottenham team with no Harry Kane, the best striker in the best pure striker in the world. What's crazy is they didn't review it. It all of a sudden just came on the screen.
Yeah.
And everyone eventually realized, like, oh, my God, this isn't a goal. And the referee points back to the spot where they're about to take the offsides free kick instead, and it was like, oh,
it's like, wait, what? Like, there's no. Usually, there's always an announcement for something like that.
To sort of find an equivalent, this would be as if the Elite Eight, if a game-winning 3 had went in, and then they called goaltending or something, or if a game-winning 3 would have looked like it went in, but was put up, got blocked. And then they called goaltending or something. No, not on 3 then. I'm trying to relate this to where this was a win, and then all of a sudden, because of a call, it was a loss. It was sort of like the Virginia game. It was sort of like when Virginia put up a 3 and they called the foul, and it felt like it could have gone either way. Against who was it against? That was Final Four. Right?
Auburn.
Auburn. It was sort of like that, where it was like, wow, that call literally just decided everything because Kyle Guy doesn't make that 3, but then he makes free 3 throws and they advance to the game. Just like, Sterling puts away that goal, and then just like that, there's no time at all for Man City to respond, and they have the goal taken away from them. Crazy. Deserve to be talked about. Thank you for giving me the platform.
I understood about 13% of those words.
You're on your phone the whole time.
Let's go Spurs.
Because I didn't understand any of those words.
This generation and their phones.
That's crazy. Well,
that's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
So the Champions League semifinals is set, or their Final Four, for those who don't understand. It is FC Barcelona and Liverpool, and then, of course, obviously, Tottenham Hotspur, my team, let's go, and Ajax, who is from Amsterdam, who is young.
Bunch of young, good talent.
Yeah, man. They just know how to play with each other.
So we'll see.
They're kind of, I'm trying to think. They remind me of like the Brooklyn Nets a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where they're young. I mean, they got that one kid. I forget his name.
Oh, yeah, him.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. That one kid. He's basically the D'Angelo Russell of that team, where he's just like has that coming of age story type of deal. But the only thing that sucks is that they're probably gonna all get sold to like
They're all gonna leave. That's how that club is run.
They're all just gonna get signed by just bigger clubs and all that.
They're like, I don't know a team in American professional sports that compares in that regard. Who's somebody that always has good young talent that always leaves? Anyone?
Like, I don't think that's just a thing that happens in American sports, where you just have a team that breeds like really good young talent.
The Thunder kind of did it.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, I guess the Thunder. A little bit.
Whatever. We don't need to get in there,
but that is interesting though.
Yeah, I don't have anyone off the top of my head.
But
all right,
just so many big names that have come out of that. That have come out of that soccer club. It's nuts.
Maybe.
Speaking of good young talent and keeping it around, Russell Wilson just signed an extension. Crazy extension.
He wasn't. I never thought he was gonna leave. I thought that was just kind of bizarre.
I think he would have left.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was fed up.
The weird thing is, it seemed like it was either all right, pay me or I'm going to the Giants. Not pay me or I'm going to free agency. Not pay me or I'm holding out. Pay me or I'm going to the New York Giants, which is super weird. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've seen these guys, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, forced trades, but it was never super specific like that. So it never really made sense. But Russell Wilson and the Seahawks agreed to a 4-year, $140 million extension, $65 million signing bonus.
That's what's guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy is that he made $65 million on one day.
One day. Today.
One day. Boom.
The direct deposit hit today.
Yep. When he put Russell Wilson on a piece of paper and made $65 million.
Wild.
Wow.
The thing is, though.
Owen Wilson. Wow.
The thing is, the Seahawks really didn't have a choice because they already let Earl Thomas do this, where he just walked away and they mishandled it completely.
Has Earl Thomas signed yet? I don't think he has he?
He's with Baltimore, yeah.
Oh,
he signed immediately.
Right,
That'd be wild if Earl Thomas was still unsigned.
No,
never mind.
But it was kind of the situation where, all right, we mishandled Earl Thomas, who's one of the top safeties in the league, and then he was super mad. He literally flipped off our head coach as he was getting carted off, and then he left, and he was very clear about wanting to leave. Russell Wilson was starting to get to that point where it's like, all right, you guys aren't even talking extension with me. There's something's got to happen here. Mm-hmm. And they eventually pay him, and the thing is, like, the NFL is so about quarterbacks now, and it's obviously a passing league. And so it's super interesting because either no, let's say the Seahawks go and they let Russell Wilson walk, and they trade him or something, and let's say they draft Drew Lock in the draft. Now there's a lot of ifs here. Now let's say Drew Lock becomes Russell Wilson. Let's say he becomes this Pro Bowl caliber quarterback who can lead you to a Super Bowl. It's Drew Lock, whatever. But then you're in the same dilemma. Do we pay you, or do we take our chances again and try to find the next Drew Lock, Russell Wilson, whoever? So this time they elected to pay Russell Wilson, but it's kind of crazy how many NFL teams are choosing to take the ladder and take the risk. The Broncos did it after Peyton left because they didn't have a B plan. And there's a lot and now it looks like the Giants aren't going to do that. It looks like they're going to roll with Eli.
The Manning thing.
Right. The Jaguars didn't do it, though, either. They had Bortles. They had a guy who was average, and they didn't even have a backup plan. And now they're kind of scrambling, and they ended up going with Nick Foles. But it's so many things like, all right, now we're hoping you turn into this, but then when it's time to pay you, we're going to let you walk. And now for the Seahawks, like that would have created such a bad locker room. Like, okay, we're going to keep you until you're just good enough to where we can't afford you, and then we're going to let you go.
Russell Wilson couldn't leave because just that championship team would have been dissolved.
Yeah.
Completely
Recently. That was it 2013 or 14 they won? 13? 14?
14.
14 they beat the Patriots.
Right,
No.
and then the Patriots won the very next year.
Yeah.
And that Malcolm Butler interception.
Yes. No. It was
Or was it 13?
No,
14. It was 14.
It was 14 that they won, that they beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
And they just
And then 15, they lost to the Patriots.
okay.
Right.
So that 14 team, I mean, you got to think like Marshawn Lynch ain't there anymore.
Nope.
Richard Sherman's not there anymore.
Nope.
Earl Thomas isn't there anymore.
Nope.
Michael Bennett isn't there anymore.
Nope.
I mean,
Damn, they lost a lot of guys.
Who's everybody?
who's the O lineman that walked recently? One of their big
Yeah.
linemen. I can't
I know
remember
you're talking
can't
about.
What's his face? Yeah.
We're really good at names today.
Who else? The speedy guy.
Percy Harvin?
Well, kind of.
Well, I mean, Marshawn Lynch.
I brought
Tate.
it. I was thinking
Golden
Tyler
Tate.
Yeah.
Golden Tate's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Tyler Lockett, but he's still there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Is Malik Turner still on the practice squad?
That team is gone. What's up?
I think he's on the active roster now because they lost everybody.
Who
is?
Shout out Malik Turner.
Malik Turner, just to bring it back to Illini sports because it is Illini draft.
This is true.
Former Illini.
Well, Illini need to do more things in a 2-day span for us to talk about. They lost to Bradley, and then their schedule came out. We touched on that. That Seahawks team isn't there anymore, and I got to put my Brian Binns cap on real quick and give him the respect, because you know what though, if the Seahawks would have let him walk, you gotta give respect to Pete Carroll. He is an excellent coach. He's not a fun person. I don't really enjoy all the things that he does and all the decisions he makes. But I mean, he made that Seahawks team that looked abysmal at the beginning of the season a playoff team later on, and a dangerous playoff team at that. And he just continuously does these things, and I don't know. I mean, I like the Seahawks. You can't count them out as long as Pete Carroll's the head coach, and
Sure.
Russell Wilson is a winner.
Right, and because Russell Wilson's one, he's in that top tier quarterbacks that can just make anything happen and help you in any way. So, I mean, he's just one of those guys. So you had to pay him. You had no other choice. Otherwise, you're looking at a rebuild.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Pete Carroll, you're not going to do a rebuild because you're going to be just good enough where you're like 7-8 wins, but you're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs, but you're not going to be bad enough to be in the top 10, and then you're in that weird gray area in which all teams.
And then Pete Carroll cheats and leaves, and then you have to deal with that.
Pete Carroll doesn't deserve that, but maybe he did a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
A little bit.
Last 10 minutes, let's talk some NBA. Damian Lillard is insane.
Yep.
He is a crazy person, and in the best way possible. I mean that because he's just taking two small dribbles, pulling up after half court. He's just giving it to Russell Wilson. Or not Russell Wilson. Now I'm getting my Russells mixed up. Russell Westbrook, who Russell Westbrook
He probably
said,
would give it to Russell Wilson.
well, Wilson's also, 5'10", so that would make sense.
He'd give him the business, though.
Right, yeah, you would.
But Damian Lillard, I mean, I feel like he's always that guy that he takes everything super personally, but then he just shows on the court. Like, he doesn't go out in the media or anything saying, talking smack. Like, he just lets his game speak for it. And Russell Westbrook said that, I almost said Russell Wilson again. Jesus. Russell Westbrook had said something about Damian Lillard. He said,
in the middle of the season, after the second time they play, he said that I baby him every time.
Yeah.
And then since then, he's averaged like 35 points against Russell Westbrook, which is like, for Russell Westbrook, he usually does dominate the smaller guards, and Damian Lillard is in there. But when it comes to the playoffs, this is a Trailblazer team that the last 2 years have been swept in the first round both times. This is a team that before this season, they were talking about what's going to happen in the future because it doesn't look like they can compete in the West. And Damian Lillard wants to be there. I think CJ McCollum wants to be there.
They both said that in the last like 10 days or so that they want to win a ring there.
Unfortunately, in the end of the season, Yusuf Nurkic got that terrible leg injury. But Damian Lillard's not giving up, and that's what's really, really honorable about him. That he's not giving up. He's not only pulling up from almost half court and draining it in anybody's face, but he's also forcing. Yesterday, Russell Westbrook shot like 5 for 20.
Yeah,
like he's making him like struggle on.
He's flustering him.
Yeah, he's flustering him. He's frustrated. And when Westbrook is frustrated, which not a lot of people can do to him, and when Paul George isn't playing as good as he can be, and Enes Kanter is having a great series against Steven Adams, this is everything that the Thunder can't handle, and it's happening.
I laugh because this is a matchup between who the MLB or the NBA players voted as the most overrated player versus the most underrated guard, at least.
Yeah. Right.
And I see that because Damian Lillard is a steady. He's walking 30-point, 9-8 assist game with CJ McCollum, who's right there, who scored more than Damian Lillard in game 2, and people forget that. I mean, he dropped 33, and that deserves as much credit as Damian's performance does. Russell Westbrook kind of sucks. Not sucks at basketball, but his unnecessary flop with Damian Lillard was getting his face.
As a person, he kind of as a personality, he might be a good person, but as a personality,
Russell Westbrook bothers me. Because he's one of those guys who's don't talk about me. Only I can talk about me. He's saying next question in every single press conference interview that he does after games, and then once you start saying bad things about him, don't talk about me, this and that, and he's people always talk about players that care too much about stat lines. I think that's Russell Westbrook. I think he cares way too much about his triple doubles. I think that he cares way too much about getting his, and I think he cares way too much about making sure that focus is on him and the whole you saw Damian Lillard when Westbrook misses the 3, and you're talking about taking 2 dribbles past the half court line. As that ball's in the air, Damian Lillard's doing Russell Westbrook's front flex, mocking him, and then nodding to the crowd, gets the ball, and then 2 dribbles, pulls up so far away that Westbrook doesn't even put a hand in his face and drains it. I mean, he's just disrespecting Westbrook, and that's the stuff Westbrook does all the time, but it's more annoying when Westbrook does it. He always I don't know. Westbrook just kind of drives me crazy in that he's tries to be this tough guy, but he's also a steady complainer and flopper.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I think it's just one of those things where brands come into play. Russell Westbrook's brand is very much Brody, in your face. I'm gonna
I'm better than you, and I will.
Right, I'm gonna taunt you. I'm gonna be in your face. I'm gonna let you know that. Where I think Damian Lillard's brand is, all right, I'm gonna be more low key, and when I am on, you're gonna know I'm on, and I'm gonna do this stuff, but it's gonna look cool because I'm pulling up from half court.
Right.
So I think it's just those things where it's two very different ends of the spectrum. I agree with you. Russell Westbrook does bother me because he is kind of a baby when it doesn't go his way. And I think he is kind of like that guy that wants to spot. When Paul George was on that crazy stretch where people talking about him as MVP, Westbrook kind of started chucking more shots then, I feel and it was more of a thing. But
he's what about me?
I think the thing is that's still just that's how he is as a player. I think that's
why Russell Westbrook will never win a ring.
I don't want to say never.
I will lock it in right now and say never.
I would agree with you if he stays in Oklahoma City, which I think he will. I think if he leaves, it kind of illegitimizes everything that he's tried to do with his brand, as Jake has said. I think the reason he has to play this tough guy is because James Harden left, Kevin Durant left. And, the next not only did Kevin Durant leave, he left to the team that in the season before they were competing against in the Western Conference Finals. I think this is why Russell Westbrook had to become, that walking triple-double. And I don't see it as a bad thing in the triple-doubles because when he does get them, they win way more often than when he doesn't. Right. So it's a good thing. But I do understand that at times he complains a lot. He doesn't like people talking about him when he talks about everybody else in the league. I think going back to the championships, I think if he leaves and, finally gets some help, not that he hasn't had help. Obviously, Paul George is amazing, but if he goes to a more structured help system, then he might win. But
I think if he's the point guard, the team doesn't win the ship, no matter what.
Even if they sign Bojan Bogdanovic, or if they sign let's even go higher. Let's say they sign
give me any name,
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. They don't win.
Really? I think Jimmy Butler and
think you
Russell
have to
Westbrook would be a
surround them.
terrible combo, though.
I think you have to
That
But
like,
like, I mean, like Chris Middleton.
I think that
no.
I think that you have to
Give me Kawhi.
surround.
They're not winning.
Really?
Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, whoever at 4, and Steven Adams. They're not winning.
I think you have to surround Russell Westbrook with, beta players. Like if you put him Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, they won't work.
That's why I immediately went back to Jimmy
right.
Butler thing. That would be terrible.
Another alpha with Russell Westbrook.
they would
Oklahoma
never.
City would implode.
Exactly. But Paul George is a good, he'll take second. I think Anthony Davis is a good, he'll take second because you've seen Anthony Davis be the best player on the team and when nobody's even
Step
close
back.
to him, and it doesn't really work with his personality. I feel like Russell Westbrook still has a lot to give in terms of his playmaking ability, in terms of his motor. But yeah, I mean, he's getting older. It doesn't look well for him in the championship aspects, but I think that if he gets surrounded by the right team, I think he can win the championship.
I feel that.
I think with the ball in his hands, he cares too much about himself to actually selflessly want the team to win a ship more. And I think he would prefer to be the shining star in a losing effort than for the team to win the championship. Not that he would ever say that, but that there's something in his DNA, something in what flows through his veins that he just needs that spotlight and needs that triple double that will always impede his goal of a championship.
Interesting. That was a little Russell Westbrook discussion there.
Right.
I mean, Durant goes back to Oklahoma. No, that would never happen in a million years. No chance.
Still,
he would.
still
Yeah, I was going to say
Still not
Brendyn.
winning.
Brendyn thought about
I
it
was
for a
thinking
second.
about it. He doesn't. I mean,
No,
not that they wouldn't accept him. I feel like they love it, but
no, because Durant's going to the Knicks with Kyrie and Zion. Obviously.
maybe.
Be crazy.
Yeah.
Be crazy.
There's no way.
There's
There's
such a
no
way.
You don't
way.
think
Such a
Somehow,
way.
some way
There's
that
no
happened.
way.
We don't have enough time to talk about this, but there's definitely
no
a way.
way.
No way.
Do the Bulls get anyone from this free agency class?
Okay.
They're gonna
This
screw.
is
You know
very
what?
quick.
They're gonna screw up and sign Mirotic again, aren't they?
I hope
They're,
not.
they're going to do what the Cubs did and get you a Descalso that we're just I mean, this isn't really who we
See, the thing is, the
wanted.
Bulls have money. And the Bulls have money.
They do have money.
This is my quick little 1 minute take.
Yep.
Even though it's never gonna happen, Kevin Durant kind of wants to go to Chicago.
Oh my God.
Now, if you look at it. No. Listen. Kevin Durant doesn't really care about winning that much anymore. He's
It's
already
true. He's got
3
the right-
championships, right? He talked about how he wants to get a bag and he wants to do his media company stuff. You can do both of those in Chicago because they're not paying anybody right now. 2, how many times in the last 3 months have you seen him wear a Chicago White Sox hat at a press conference? 3, last week he was talking about Patrick Beverly and said, this kid's from Chicago. Chicago kids are different. They play like this. I think he secretly wants to go. He'll never go. But
See, here's what's gonna happen. Remember what happened when Manny Machado was wearing White Sox hats? Remember what happened when Manny Machado was like, "Oh yeah, Chicago is cool." You know what's gonna happen? The Bulls are gonna get stuck with Patrick Beverly because Kevin Durant talked about him one time, and they're gonna get nobody else.
The problem is Kevin Durant's brother-in-law doesn't play in the NBA, so the Bulls can't sign him.
Yeah, the Bulls are gonna be like, "Hey, talk about Pat Bev one time." They sign him for an extravagant deal. They get stuck with him, and then Durant goes to New York or back to Golden State.
If the Bulls sign him, I'm buying you a Durant Bulls jersey. I'll give you that. I'll give you
That's
that.
on video.
Yeah, I'll give you
All
that.
right, that does it for us. That was a nice little thing, a little outrageous take from Brendyn there to end the show. That does it for us for today, for this week. Tomorrow, you have Isaac and Eli and Tati as usual, but we are done. Have a good rest of the week. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy all the games going on. We are out of here. Alex, hit the music.